Hello students. In the last video lecture, we started discussing the topic principles of inheritance and variation, where I just introduced about the topic, right? And I told you the meaning of what is inheritance, what is variation. Along with that, I told you in the coming sessions in this chapter, we are trying to find the answer for what is the principle behind inheritance and what is the reason for the nature's variation. We know that usually the two individuals are not alike, right? They are not same. They have some difference, and the difference is usually called variation. Along with that, I even told you about Gregor John Mendel, his work and his experimental, what is that, organism, which organism or the plant he selected, that is Pisum sativum. Even I told you the reason behind it. After that, I told you about the basic experimental techniques that are followed by Gregor Mendel. So in the upcoming sessions, we are going to discuss about monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross and other different experiments. To understand that, in our last session we discussed the basic techniques of experiment of the Mendel. Meanwhile, before going to monohybrid and dihybrid cross, in this class I want to discuss with you about few genetic terminologies which I am going to use frequently. Okay, there are few terms that you must aware, and I am going to write around 11 to 12 terms here. All of them are 1 mark. I will not repeat again and again. All of them are 1 mark questions. So their definition is also very important. And as a geneticist, as a NEET aspirant, okay, here you must know along with the definition what exactly the meaning of it. Okay, so in the upcoming sessions when I discuss about monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, I am going to use these terminologies again and again. So anyhow, let us begin with the first genetic terminology. It is, the first one is character, which I told you in my last session. So what is character? A well-defined morphological feature of an organism. I repeat, a clearly visible, right? I told you that when you imagine yourself in the class with your friends in the class. When I look at you guys in a class, a well-defined morphological feature of an organism is called what? Character. By looking at you, I can directly say height is a character, hairstyle is a character, skin color is a character. So write down character in front of it. Well-defined morphological feature, F-E-A-T-U-R-E, feature of an organism. Example, height. Okay. Along with that, I discuss about one more genetic terminology, that is trait or traits. Distinguishing feature of a character is called traits. Height is a character. Height can be distinguished into 2 traits: tall, dwarf, right? Seed shape is a character, can be distinguished into round seed, wrinkled seed. Is that clear? When you are distinguishing the character into 2, distinguishing feature of a character, character ಅನ್ನೇ distinguish ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, right, ಆಗ ಸಿಗುವ ಆ ಎರಡು distinguishing feature ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, that is called trait. Hope you have written the definition. Distinguishing feature of a character is called trait. Example, tall and dwarf. You have already mentioned the example for character is height. Example for trait is tall and dwarf. Whenever you go to the definition of these two, first what you do is you see the example. Okay, height is a character, fine. Tall and dwarf are the traits. Automatically you will understand or you will come to know the definition of these two. Is that clear? Now the third one is gene, which Mendel called it as factor. Mendel called it as factor but we called, right, later it was called as gene. Where exactly the gene? You can write down the definition. Gene is the basic unit of heredity. Gene is the basic unit of heredity, nothing but the transformation of a character from parents to their offspring. That is what? Gene. Basic unit of heredity. A segment of DNA. DNA du ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ segment ಅಲ್ವಾ? Segment of DNA and made of nucleotides. Shall I repeat? It is the basic unit of heredity. Mendel, based on his research, his experiments on Pisum sativum, he says that something is going to transfer from parents to offsprings, and he called that something as factor. Today we are calling it as gene. So what are gene? Genes are the basic unit of heredity, a segment of DNA which was not known to Mendel, but we know it. A segment, a part, ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಒಂದು DNA ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ in a DNA many genes will be present. A segment of DNA made of nucleotides. Nucleosides later become nucleotides. That is called what? Gene. Okay. The next term is number 4, allele or alleles. What exactly alleles are? Okay, now that we can understand like this. For the formation of a new life, ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ life formation ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, let me take in the case of animal only. We show sexual mode of reproduction, right, where the participation of two gametes is very important. One is the male gamete, another one is the female gamete. Let me write it like this. Okay, this is a what? Egg. The female ova. Let me take in the case of human only. Okay, ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಲೈಫ್, ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೇಬಿ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾದರೆ one cell required is egg, and you know that this egg has how many chromosome? 23 chromosome, which is fertilized by a male gamete. What is that? Sperm with 23. Female gamete egg and a male gamete sperm are the two cells which are required when fertilization process will be over, right? When both of them fuse, when fertilization will be over, a single cell will be formed, and that single cell is called what? Zygote. That zygote had, right, will contain how many chromosome? 46. Just try to recall this. Now, the single cell zygote having 46 chromosome, in which 23 came from mother, 23 came from the father. So, the cell is having both maternal chromosome, that means mother's chromosome, paternal chromosome, nothing but the father chromosome. Now, this zygote, you know that, divides into two cell become 4 cell, okay, 4 cell become 8 cell, 16. The process of mitotic division, or what I can say cleavage, continues, and finally a beautiful, right, a beautiful animal will be, a complete body will be formed. So remember that this animal body is made up of trillions of cells. Each cell of the body, it may be a hand cell, leg cell, it is the very basic concept which I am discussing with you, right? Each cell of the body came from a single cell called zygote, and zygote is formed by the fusion of two cells. Each cell of the body except sperm and ova, okay, leave those two cells, remaining all somatic cells of the body have how many chromosome? 46 chromosome, which came from a single cell. My each and every body cell has 46 chromosome. Now the question is, how my every cell got 46 chromosome? Because I developed from a single cell called zygote. This zygote got 46 chromosome Elinda by the fusion of 23 from the mother, 23 from the father. Is that clear? This is how we are going to receive 46 chromosome. Now, just look at these 46 chromosome. Out of this, 23 from the mother, 23 from the father, right? Both are present in it. Now, one chromosome, when I arrange all the 23 chromosomes here, as well as I will arrange the father's 23 chromosome or the chromosomes from the sperm. Both 23 chromosomes I have arranged. And I observed that one chromosome of the mother was looking similar to one chromosome of the father. In that arrangement, I compared and I come to know that one father chromosome, nothing but the sperm chromosome, one mother chromosome, both were same. Okay, I again checked that. You know this basic, but still I am discussing with you. Okay, one father chromosome out of the 23 and one mother chromosome, again these two were same. Okay, these two were differing from each other, but these two were same. Likewise, when I keep on arranging them, I come to know that such totally 23 pairs I got. How many? 23. And in each pair, one father chromosome, one mother chromosome was same. Such similar chromosome, one father, one more father, no. One mother, one more mother chromosome, same, no. One father chromosome, one mother chromosome were same. These two similar chromosomes, I call them as what? Homologous, chromosomes. Okay. So, what are homologous chromosomes? These are the similar chromosomes, right? Which is containing one paternal chromosome and a father chromosome, one maternal chromosome. That means when I observe a zygote or my each body cell, it has such how many homologous chromosome? 23. Okay, or 23 pairs of, what you will find, 23 pairs of chromosome will be present. 23 homologous chromosome or 23 pairs of chromosome are present in each cell of the body. Now the question is, what is chromosome? Okay, which was not known to your friend Mendel, but today we know this. Okay, post-Mendelian research or the discovery revealed that a chromosome is the one which is made up of the genetic material DNA and protein. What is that? Histone protein. Just try to understand about it. You will come to know in detail in the next chapter, molecular biology. Now I can say this much. Inside each chromosome, if I draw a chromosome, let me enlarge. Okay, inside each chromosome, what I will find? I will find the genetic material, DNA is present, which is wrapped by a histone protein, right? Wrapped by which one? Histone protein. So, inner DNA, a segment of the DNA, you called it as what? Gene, but Mendel called it as factor. Inner DNA or inner chromosome, many such genes will be present. Okay, many genes are present, but when I compare a homologous chromosome, a pair of chromosome at the same position, look at the position, at the same position, I am finding the gene here, but the same position, the gene which is present, it was slightly differing. Okay, it is the same gene, but they are slightly differing. Shall I repeat? Let me represent it like capital T, small t. Okay, slightly different forms of a same gene. Slightly different forms of a same gene. There was a gene called height. Okay, at this position, that gene got slightly differed from each other. So slightly different forms of a same gene present at same locus. Okay, present at same locus. What is locus? The position where a particular gene is present at same locus on a homologous chromosome are called what? Alleles. Mark allele as a very important one. Out of the 11 or 12, this is most important 1 mark question. Write down the definition of alleles according to NCERT. Write down genes which code for a pair of contrasting traits. Gene which code for a pair of contrasting traits. There was a gene called height gene which was coding for a pair of contrasting traits. Tall and dwarf are the contrasting traits of a character called height. Write down the definition. Genes which code for a pair of contrasting traits are known as alleles. That is, the definition is not over. You will not get 1 mark if you write only this much. That is, alleles they are slightly different forms of a same gene, present at same locus on a homologous chromosome. So just try to understand the gene, we say a basic unit of heredity. Okay, and gene what is there available in slightly different form, capital T small t, capital R small r, slightly different forms of the same gene. The locus is always same, present at same locus on a homologous chromosome. But if you write only this much, you are not going to get the mark. So what is the first half of the definition says? Genes which code for a pair of contrasting trait. A gene which code for a pair of contrasting trait are called alleles. That is, they are the slightly different forms of the same gene present at same locus on a homologous chromosome. This is the very important 1 mark question. Write down the definition of it. Okay. Next, apart from this, meanwhile I use one more genetic term, that is what? Locus. What is locus? It is the site or position of a gene or allele. It is the site or position or location of a gene, or you can say a allele, on a homologous chromosome. Okay, whenever I speak about alleles of a gene, bere gene alla, alleles of a gene, they are always present at same locus. Let me take the example of the two alleles of the same gene, capital R small r. Capital R is here. Can small r be present here? No. The locus is always same. Remember that. Whenever the alleles of a gene, when you consider, remember their locus is always same on a what? Homologous chromosome. So it is the position or a site of a allele at position or site of a allele on a homologous chromosome. That position we will call it as what? Locus. Yes, hope you have noted down the definition. Next, the two more terms, number 6 and number 7, that is very simple. You can only tell this: homozygous condition, and one more is heterozygous condition. Two terms, homozygous, heterozygous. Now let me represent it here. Consider that, okay, here I am drawing one condition. Let me draw one more here. Okay, I am giving you here two examples. Okay, in both the case, these are the homologous chromosome. These are the what? Homologous chromosome, no doubt. Yeah. Now, in the first case, I will write like this. Second case, I will write like this. In the first case, I have written capital R, small r. In the second case, capital R, capital R. Now, my question is, out of the two, which one represent homozygous and which one represent heterozygous? I hope you understood this concept by looking into the prefix homo and hetero, right? In right, homo means same, hetero means different. So what about first condition? It is heterozygous. What about the second condition? The second condition reveals that it is what? Homozygous condition. So what do you mean by homozygous? Write down the definition. It is the presence of similar alleles. It is the presence of similar allele or different allele. It is the presence of similar alleles at same locus. Locus for a allele is always what? Same. Presence of similar alleles at same locus on a homologous chromosome. Homologous chromosome is called what? Homozygous condition. There only, just represent, write down this one. By looking into this, easily you can recall the definition of homozygous. So this is heterozygous condition, right? What? Heterozygous. So what is the definition? It is the presence of similar allele or different allele. Presence of different allele at same locus or different locus. I told you locus is always same. Shall I repeat? It is the presence of different alleles at same locus on a homologous what? Chromosome are called heterozygous condition. So homozygous means similar allele, heterozygous means different allele. So guys, capital T, homozygous, capital T, small t, heterozygous, small t, homozygous. When two letters are same, homo, alwa, that may be capital or small letter, whatever is it may be. When they are different, the two letters are different. One is capital, another one is small. One is in the upper case, another one is the lower case. Then it is called what? Heterozygous. Okay. Capital Y, small y, heterozygous. Capital Y, homozygous. Small y, homozygous. Is that clear? But the problem is, you will usually get confusion between homologous chromosome and the two term homozygous and heterozygous. By now, hope it is clear. Homologous chromosomes are the similar chromosome, right? On which, if similar alleles present, it is called homozygous. On the homologous chromosome, if different alleles are present, the condition is represented by what? Heterozygous condition. Yes. Okay. Now next, number 8 and number 9, again very simple. They are dominant gene, or I can use the term dominant allele also. One more is recessive allele or the gene. Hope this you know very well, right? Dominant and recessive. Whenever you want to define these two terms, always remember, you have to consider not homozygous condition, you have to consider heterozygous condition. I repeat, whenever you want to define a dominant and recessive gene, you have to consider which one? Heterozygous condition. Under heterozygous condition, okay, the gene which is expressed is called dominant gene. Under heterozygous condition, the gene which is suppressed is called recessive gene. Okay, under heterozygous condition, the gene which is expressed out of the two, capital R is expressed. It is expressing a what? A character or a trait. That's why it is called dominant gene. Small r is called what? A recessive gene. Is that clear? Under heterozygous condition, the gene which is expressed is called dominant gene. The gene which is suppressed is called what? Recessive gene. Dear student, repeat along with me. If you do not repeat, if you do not recall the definition, you may find very much difficulty when I continue, when I go to the further, what is that, study of Mendel. So you must be very thorough with the definition, the concept, the meaning of each term what I am going to write here. Clear? Next, number 10 and number 11, again very simple. They are, one is genotype, another one is phenotype. Okay, what is genotype? The genetic makeup or genetic constituent of an organism is called genotype. I repeat, the genetic makeup or genetic constituent of an organism is called genotype. Genotype is the genetic makeup in an individual. Okay, in a individual, the genotype is capital Y, small y, capital R, capital R. In an individual, capital T, small t is genotype. In an individual, capital A, small a, capital B, capital C, small c, capital D. Hope you understood the concept. The genetic constituent, the arrangement of the gene or the presence of the gene, the genetic makeup or genetic constituent of an organism. In an organism called pea plant, it is its genotype. Dear student, from here onwards, whenever I say genotype, that I will always represent in the form of what? Letters. Letters alli ಏನು represent ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? That is what? Genotype. Clear? What is the function of genotype? Genotype control phenotype, or genotype, right, express the phenotype. So what is phenotype? Phenotype is nothing but character. What I already discussed with you, the character or the morphological feature of an organism is called phenotype or character. The same character, right, I am writing once again as a phenotype. So what is phenotype? Phenotype is the morphological feature or the character of an individual. Whenever I write in my upcoming class, right, yellow color seed, round seed, okay, tall plant, okay, something, right, starch grain. Whenever I write the character, remember, the character is phenotype, tall is the phenotype, capital T, small t is the genotype. Is that clear? And phenotype of an organism, character of an organism is controlled by whom? Genotype. Genotype is not controlled by phenotype. Phenotype of an individual, my hairstyle is my phenotype, is regulated by my genotype. Salivary amylase enzyme present in my saliva is a phenotype which is regulated by my what? Genotype. Is that clear? Genotype regulate our phenotype. Any change in the genotype, ನನ್ನ ಜೀನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ನನ್ನ ಜೆನೆಟಿಕ್ ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆದರೆ, any change in the genotype may result in change in the what also? Phenotype also, right? This is how even evolution occurred. We usually say we evolved from not monkeys, ape-like creatures, alva? We humans evolved from ape-like creatures. How? By the change in our genotype. Evolution time alli namma genotype alli gradual agi mella change ಆಗ್ತಾ ಅದರಿಂದ phenotype alli ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಯಿತು. We have this particular right appearance or the nature today. Is that clear? So genotype and phenotype. Let me end the session with the last two terms. These are once again very important. They are, one is back cross and another one is what? Test cross. Okay. What is back cross and what is test cross? Say for example, I will cross two individuals. Okay. One is a tall pea plant, one more is dwarf pea plant. Okay, I know that you know the basic knowledge, that's why I am directly writing it. Anyhow, I will teach you about this in the next session. Let me represent like this. It is their phenotype, it is their genotype. When they produce, when I cross them, they will give birth to their first generation progeny, right? First generation, which I represent it as F1. What do you mean by F1? Filial one generation. And I don't know, okay, I think the first generation baby is what? The baby plant is tall. The baby plant is what? Tall. They got tall plant. Now, in this case, suppose if I cross the progeny, F1 is what? F1 is the progeny, F1 is the offspring, right? These two are the parents. When the progeny or the F1 individual is crossed with either of the parent, shall I repeat once again? Crossing the F1 progeny with either of the parent, either its dominant parent or its recessive parent. Crossing the progeny with either of the parents, either dominant parent, F1 with the tall capital, right, whatever it may be, the tall plant with the tall, or this tall plant with dwarf plant, we call it as back cross. Write down, crossing the F1 in bracket progeny with either of the parents, in bracket either dominant or recessive parent, close the bracket, either dominant or recessive parent. ಯಾರ್ದಾದರೂ ಒಬ್ಬರ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಪುನಃ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ ನಾವು? ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ 1 mark question. And the 13th one is test cross. Crossing the F1 progeny with only its recessive parent. Write down the definition. Crossing the F1 progeny with its recessive parent is called test cross. See, already I told you, with either of the parent is back cross, which may include either a dominant parent or recessive parent. So what I am going to tell here about test cross is a type of back cross only. Whenever I use the word test, here I cannot use either, right? Test anta helidavaga it should be specific. So whenever I say test cross, it is the crossing of F1 progeny with only its recessive parent ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, right, we call it test cross. It is a type of what? back cross. And in my next session, I will tell you what is the benefit of back cross test cross, whether it is really necessary crossing the progeny with its parent only. What is the significance of it? We will see in the coming session. Hope these genetic terminologies are clear, and in this, the definition of which one? The allele, back cross definition, test cross definition are the three which are highest asked 1 mark question. Okay, they are asked for the maximum time, especially allele, back cross, test cross. Practice them, and when you want to write, when you are attending my next session, you must be thorough with these terms. Then only the next session will become very easy. Thanks, student.